Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Founders Grid, sponsored by Gaper.io. Today we have Sherwin. Sherwin is the founding partner and CEO at Creative Interlace. Sherwin, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So,
Thank you for
give us
having
a
me.
brief background about yourself, what you've been doing prior to Sherwin Interlace.
So prior to Creative Interlaced, I invested in many different industries, including real estate, to sports, to MMA, into a little bit of technology, and and even film at that. So with some post production with film,
Huh,
so sports film as that. So
okay.
so yeah, a little bit of everything. Um, Jack of all trades, I guess, is what you want to say. Been in so many different industries.
But 5 years now, 5 years ago, you founded, Creative Interlace, and how's the journey been so far?
So founding this technology company, it's been a great experience. For starters, since I grew up with a family of entrepreneurs and inventors, and and supporting so many different verticals and so many different industries. Technology continued to allow me to explore different industries and different verticals in those industries. So since launching the company, um, it's actually been pretty great. The first couple of years, of course, you got to go through the different versions of your team and founding teams. Well, not really your founding team, but really your staff and teammates, right, if you will. Um, and we're doing great. We're doing great now. So
Nice, nice. Good to hear. Good to hear. So, trying to make the conversation much more relevant towards today's time, as a CEO, you're forced to wear multiple hats from looking after accounts, taxes, sales, marketing, content, everything. So now everyone has been forced to do it over Zoom, right? So how
right.
has the last 6 to 9 months been for you? Can you walk us through it?
Yes. So let me kind of pause before the 9 months started happening. This whole COVID pandemic era in our lives. So prior to this, we would meet up in, we were operating out of, Newport Beach. We're operating out of, different universities, vetting, mentoring, and coaching their startup community. And so we were doing a lot of in-person vetting, in-person screening, for companies that we'd like to invest in or either develop, right? So fast forward, pandemic happens, everything was a complete halt. And, so everything is pretty much the same minus the in-person screening, right? The in-person meetings and the in-person, um, you know, uh, social aspect of it. And, but now everything really, and well, of course, minus the commute. Here in Southern California, the commute is a killer. So, we actually, our productivity has increased, you know, 4x, since this pandemic happened for us. And so since then, instead of commuting to the universities, vetting companies, everything is done via Zoom. And instead of being able to do one screening a day with 5 companies, we can screen up to 10, 15 companies a day. So it's productivity is really increased. And so that's
Wow.
kind of
Yeah.
a change in a way, right? But it's again, this can be a blessing or a curse for some companies and for some firms, but for us, it's definitely been a blessing. Um, and we're very fortunate that business is great, and our
Mhm.
portfolio of companies has grown 4x since all of this happened. So.
Wow. Can you elaborate more on what you're doing at Creative Interlace for the listeners?
Mhm. Absolutely. So in Creative Interlace, it's actually Creative Interlace. Um, it's Creative Interlace Tech Ventures. So we have two different arms in Creative Interlace. We have a technology arm, which develops technology anywhere from lifestyle applications to enterprise software platforms, and all different models and different verticals, different industries. And then we also have a venture arm, which has three different private groups of investors, okay, that invests in these opportunities on the technology side. So, but for the most part, about 95% of our portfolio, um, our venture arm has invested in those companies,
Got it.
and we also develop it in-house as well. So,
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So, which brings, so you mentioned that the productivity has increased 4x, right?
mhm, yes.
So, how has it impacted the mental health of your colleagues? And did you start feeling any burnouts in your team? And how did you cope up with all of those burnouts?
So the answer is yes, because productivity level has increased. So we actually went on a 4-month hiring spree, and so we are just now capping off at the tail end of the hiring spree, and things are stable. In terms of the burnout, is stabilizing now, but we were having our engineers, our sales team, they were basically working around the clock, um, through the weekends, for the most part in the last 4 months. So, but that's stabilized since then. And so, yeah, in terms of burnout, just give you a quick story. One of our lead developers, he um, had some issues with his back, and he wasn't able to get up or stand up or sit down. He was pretty much bedridden, and he just needed to take a break. So what we ended up doing was providing him a new complete office setup, providing him an ergonomic table, a sit and stand table, and better chair, and so on and so forth. So we just basically provided the necessary gear for his home office you know to operate right with ergonomically, I guess.
Got it. Got it. So, my last question, as a founder yourself, what three things have you adopted in your life to improve your productivity? And I believe you have kids in the house as well. So, how are you kind of like coping up with all of that too?
So it's really being aware of your lifestyle balance at home, because at home not only am I working from home, um, my wife is working from home, and our kids are in school at home, right? So with our toddler. And so the dynamics definitely changes. It's changed over the last 9 months, and so it's really important that there is a balance, meaning alone time, meaning outdoor time, physical activities, and also some board games with the family, things of that nature. So, and you kind of change it up a bit. So I'll just give you an example. I was working at the upstairs office for like the last 6 months, and just from the last week over the weekend, my wife and I decided we'll switch offices just to get a change of scene. So now I'm downstairs office, she's in the upstairs office. So just changing
Nice.
things around. So yeah, to keep and also I have weekly standing meetings, you know from running a company, multiple companies, and also advising on you know over 80% of our portfolio companies. That can take a toll on you, right? So for me, I always have to sit down once a week with some of my other business partners, which I look up to as mentors, right? And also the lifestyle coaches, life coaches at the same time. And they help balance me out, and we actually help balance each other out. So so we're doing what we can to really um, create that balance in our household. It's a lot of work, but we're doing it. So
Hmm.
it's helping.
Yeah, Sherwin, thank you so much for being on the show. Take care of yourself. I'm pretty sure we could have talked longer, but my marketing team forces me to keep the podcast to a limited time. Thank you so much
Yep,
for being on the show.
not a problem. You're welcome.